Hey, what's up guys? It's Steven, also known as TystEld, and today we're doing a different kind of video. Like all of my videos, we're doing a review of the roguelike game Hades. No, I'm just joking. We're doing a review on Risk of Rain 2. Now I suppose I have to create a summary of the story really quickly so that you guys can sort of understand what I'm talking about. In Risk of Rain 2, you are part of the crew of the UES Safe Travels as they try to find the UES Contact Light and how many ever survivors there are left. Now, they do this on this planet, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce for the life of me, and they have to go through, kill monsters to buy items, and access teleporters which send them to different parts of the planet until eventually they're able to go to the moon, kill the final boss, and or obliterate in two very distinct ways that I'm not going to spoil. Now, in terms of story, on a base level, there's already some interest there. Who are you? Who are these survivors you're trying to save? What are the monsters? Risk of Rain doesn't give you any explicit answers, but it's worth mentioning that there are logbooks in Risk of Rain, so go take a look at those if you're interested. Story overall, from what I've heard, I would give it a solid 6 out of 10. It's not super in-depth, but it also gets points for not being super in-depth and overwhelming for new players. The next part of Risk of Rain 2 that I need to talk about is the gameplay and the mechanics. Now, the mechanics probably follow a very standard set of mechanics that are used in roguelikes. So we're talking about going between different stages / different rooms, we're talking about picking up items, and we're talking about your character having abilities based on the character that you choose. In this sense, it's a very basic roguelike. It's just in a 3D setting, but the 3D setting adds a lot of variety and depth to the mechanics that a 2D setting just doesn't. With each character having their own unique set of mechanics, it's very easy to look at the gameplay of Risk of Rain 2 and say, yes, this is fun. I enjoy this, I enjoy messing around with the different abilities of each survivor, and I enjoy testing out builds with these survivors. The game gets harder over time, so all in all, I give the gameplay like a 9 out of 10. This is fun, and it just hits the right flow state between challenging and interesting. Acrid is a poison-based character that has surprising mobility, and you have to use that surprising mobility to jump around the map, spread your poison, and outlast your enemies. Artificer is a mage-based character where you use several different elemental abilities to nuke your enemies. Overall, she has very high cooldowns and not a lot of mobility. Not my favorite character, but she's fine. Bandit is my personal favorite character and is based around rootin' tootin' and shootin', as you can see by the cowboy hat, but more importantly has several abilities that are based around sneaking around and resetting your cooldowns and doing massive damage. Captain is a character that has a lot of utility, but also a good chunk of damage. Overall, just okay in my opinion. Commando is a character that fulfills the fantasy of dual-wielding pistols while running around like a maniac. You get to do a lot of Call of Duty slides, and frankly, is a really fun character, especially with proc chance. Engineer spawns turrets and is generally a utility character, but let's be honest, those turrets can also mean that you can sit back and play the game while you're in class. Heretic is a relatively new addition, and in my opinion, is probably the worst survivor here. You get this survivor via lunar items, and not only is that really hard to do, but it's not worth the cost. Huntress is a bow and arrow based character. She tends to be a DPS character. She has blipping teleportation and is fairly good, especially with crit. Loader is the one you play if you have Spider-Man fantasies and also want to one-shot people like Saitama. Mercenaries, for all you weebs out there, you get to wield a katana, have some samurai armor, and are based around high mobility and frequent attacks. Multi has multiple advantages over the other survivors, as not only are they particularly tanky, but they also have a range of skills that they can use to make their gameplay more unique than other survivors. Vex likes to court death by using their health to use abilities while also having a lot of health sustain on those abilities. Risk of Rain 2 also adds this fun little replayability factor called artifacts. With the artifact mechanic, you can add a little bit of chaos to your games and add a little more control sometimes to your games. Basically, artifacts you have to find through the world in little secret hidden spots that I won't spoil for anybody, and using those artifacts you can create things like dealing a ton of damage, but your health is significantly lowered. You can say what items you want. You can make monsters gain items, and of course, you can turn on friendly fire. Holy shit, I'm almost done. Now we get to talk about mods. Now mods can do basically anything that you can imagine within certain boundaries. This means that you can add new items to the game, you can add new difficulties to the game, you can add enemies and bosses, you can also add new characters. You can also add abilities for characters that already exist, and you can make your characters look a little different from what they usually do. Cough cough, look at the Huntress mod. And that's about all that Risk of Rain 2 has to offer. Of course, as a person who has over 400 hours in the game, I have to give Risk of Rain 2 a 9 out of 10. Honestly, I love playing this game, and it has so much replayability, it has beautiful, beautiful graphics, the soundtrack is gorgeous, and that's what you've been hearing in the background of this video. It's an amazing game, and it's highly worth the price. Now, of course, at this point, they're not updating the game with any new content, except for paid-for DLCs, but judging by what the developers have said about the DLCs that they come out with should be quite good. They're probably worth the money. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this really fast review of Risk of Rain 2, which is much faster than about any of my runs will ever be. If you liked the video, hit the like. If you like my content, hit subscribe, and comment in the comment section below how much of this video you could actually understand. I'll talk to you guys later.